In this video, you'll learn how to use MIDI data to drive animation behaviors. To get started, let's open the included MIDI tutorial scene. This already has basic audio setup and some objects to work with. First, we'll need to add a MIDI source. With the audio track object selected, from the main menu, select Tools, Timeflow, Add MIDI File. This adds a new MIDI file component on the object, expecting a text asset to be assigned. We can use the Timeflow test MIDI file provided in the examples, or you may export a MIDI file of your own from any audio software that supports it. The MIDI file must be in binary format and named with the extension bytes. Otherwise, the file will not be read correctly. Once the file has been assigned, it automatically imports the data as shown below, or you may press the button to reload it at any time. The MIDI file only needs to be read once to load all of the channels and note values, which we control open to inspect further. This data is only for reference and should not be modified directly. It provides precise note timing and velocity with an index representing the note's value or pitch. With our MIDI file now set up, we can create some animated behaviors. Let's select and view the kick object in Timeflow. Then right-click to add MIDI, tween, and for this example we can select local position Y. The MIDI file is automatically found and assigned, however, we still need to select a MIDI track to drive the behavior. For this one, we'll select the kick channel. We can now preview what we have so far. In the Timeflow view, we can also turn on the graph icon for this channel to display the MIDI notes. This is just for display and the notes cannot be selected or edited directly. Many of the features in MIDI tween are familiar to using tween and audio reactive behaviors, such as setting the on and off values with the amount slider and override settings. Let's now add the keys object to the Timeflow view and right-click to apply MIDI tween to local position Y. For this one, let's select the keys channel and preview the animation. We can now go over some of the additional MIDI settings. The Notes drop-down menu lets you specify which notes to react to in the selected channel. This can be all notes in the channel, a range of notes, or a single note. There are also more advanced options to target multiple objects, with each mapping to a different note, or cycling over objects in a sequence. These are advanced settings not covered in this video, but please see the documentation and examples for more information. If polyphonic is enabled, each note is applied additively, so that multiple overlapping notes may be played at once. Otherwise, if this option is off, each note played interrupts the previous note, discretely animating from the off to on position. And the min velocity may be adjusted to filter out notes which are played too softly. For now, we can use all notes and collapse this section. Moving down to the note processing section, we can review some additional controls. The processing mode may either interpolate or increment in value. Using increment is useful to create behaviors that increase with each note played. We will demonstrate this a bit later, but for now we'll use interpolate. The velocity determines the intensity or loudness of the note and may be assigned one of the following modes. If set to ignore, then each note is played at the same intensity regardless of the note velocity. Shorten attack means that the notes played softly will have slower attack times, while notes played loudly are more immediate. Scale value applies note velocity to the intensity of the effect and is probably the most natural way of displaying loudness visually. With this mode, the value is only fully on when the velocity reaches the max value, which may be adjusted here. And finally, there is limit sustain, which applies velocity as the sustain level of the notes. For this example, we can set it to ignore. Next, we have the attack time in seconds, which determines how long it takes to ramp up to fully on each time a note is played. Increasing the attack time causes the value to ramp on more gradually, while a value of 0 is immediate. One unique benefit to using MIDI data is that notes can be anticipated ahead of time. If anticipate is enabled, the animation behavior starts before the note is played so that the attack time is synchronized to the audio. Otherwise, if off, a perceptual delay may occur. Usually anticipate is preferred for tighter synchronization and creating effects that build up to an audio event. Decay sets the time in seconds it takes to go from the attack value down to the sustain level. The sustain defines the amount between the on and off value when a note is held and continues to play. Typically, sustain is set to a value of 1 so that the effect holds on the on value. However, you might set this lower to hold a lower intensity value. If needed, a max duration may be set to stop notes from playing too long. And finally, the release time sets how long the effect fades off once the note is released. This could be thought of as the afterglow of each note while transitioning smoothly back to the off value. Let's now add a MIDI tween to the last object's snare. We'll add it to the view and once again right-click to add MIDI, MIDI tween, and this time let's select local rotation Z. For input, let's select the snare channel. And then we'll enter an on value of 90 degrees. Let's play Timeflow to preview it so far. We can see that each time the snare hits, the object rotates 90 degrees and then back. However, if we change the processing mode to increment, then the 90-degree rotation is applied additively the max number of steps. For example, we could increase this to 8 steps and set the value increment to 45. Once the number of steps is reached, the sequence restarts from the off value. Or if you set max steps to 0, then the value will continue to accumulate indefinitely. This can be used to create effects that continue to build over time instead of repeating the same movement. That concludes this video on using MIDI. Please refer to the documentation links in the video description below for more information. In the next video, we'll discuss using MIDI receiver.